Most people think Juneteenth colors are red, black, and green. But that's not Juneteenth. That's Pan-African. And I know this might sound wild, but stay with me. Because by the end of this, you're going to look at Juneteenth completely different. Juneteenth is not an African holiday. It is an American holiday.
Here, as we get ready to celebrate Juneteenth and those ideals of freedom, I have to stand here on this Senate floor, recount this history, and say that we are at another crisis point in our democracy because the Supreme Court now has gutted the Voting Rights Act.
Might have to drop a dime on them.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
You gotta stop it.
I don't like that shit.
For sure, bro.
I don't like that shit.
Alright, y'all, we back with another video, man. Y'all know how we do. Always pushing health, wealth, and to better understand the self. So in this video, y'all, we're going over how Juneteenth is now being celebrated from other cultures and nationalities. We got one where it was a Haitian lady and a Asian woman. And we always had it, you know, Africa looked like they trying to take on the Juneteenth. The Caribbeans.
Immigrants, Heathers are trying to take over Juneteenth yet again. That's meant for Black Americans. Chef Manushka Guerrier, Haitian. Chef Debbie Lee, Korean. Now, what are you guys doing? You know we having an Asian business boycott, trying to host some Juneteenth event, some shindig at a Korean hub. But you guys are not Black American. Now, Manushka worked on the Food Network. Everybody knows what the Food Network is. So, wait, why are there no Black Americans hosting this event? This is cultural encroachment. Now, you guys know no one gave you the authority to host any events for Black Americans with no Black Americans, especially when the event is called Juneteenth. That is cultural encroachment. Listen, my name is Ken Nottaway. I'm the 5th great grandson of Nat Turner, one of the greatest American freedom fighters of all time. On my channel, we talk about journalism, psychology, communication, media, and public relations. And oftentimes through these channels, through these mediums, our narratives are changed. We're correcting the action, protecting our culture. We are advocating for our culture that doesn't belong to a Haitian or a Korean. These are also the areas that I received my college degrees and my expertise. And because I'm from this lineage, you guys are being put on notice. Now listen, this is Manushka's social media, and this is Debbie Lee's social media. You guys are out of control. You're out of order. Why would you want to practice cultural encroachment against Black Americans? It's such a shame. Hit them up. Make them understand. You cannot speak for Black Americans. You cannot practice cultural encroachment. No. Okay? Calm that down. Talking about some soul to soul.
The problem with that is it's a federal recognized holiday for Black Americans. Okay? And we still in delineation mode where we want to make sure that no one is taking our image, name, and likeness and using it for their benefit.
And ironic that the same people who have committed their lives to declaring from the rooftops that Black Americans have no culture are now trying to make Juneteenth about them. Like, as a Black American, I understand that Haitian Independence Day is not my culture. It's not for me to celebrate. It's not for me to try to colonize or take. For an example, like Haitian Independence Day is a Haitian thing. I understand that that's their culture, that's their history, that's a day for them to celebrate. I understand that's not about me. But for some reason, when it comes to Black Americans, the diaspora, don't really like that word, cannot have the same mindset. Like, the same people that say we have no culture are now trying to like make Juneteenth a diaspora thing or a Black thing instead of a holiday that celebrates a very specific moment in Black American history. Like 1865, you know, the whole Juneteenth thing. What did it have to do with Black Brits? What did it have to do with Caribbeans? What did it have to do with Africans? The same way that Haitian Independence Day, for example, had nothing to do with American black people or Canadian black people or British black people or Panamanian black people. Like, I don't understand how people that say we have no culture are now trying to make Juneteenth like everybody. This is a black thing. Like, you weren't even here in 1865. So, because I know you ain't celebrating the liberation of your black American brothers and sisters. I know it's not about that. Like, I know you're not overjoyed for us, and that's why you celebrate. Like, I don't understand, because I fully understand that, like, I don't know, South African celebrations are not for me, and I understand that Haitian stuff is not for me, and I understand that Jamaican culture, you know, whatever holidays they have is not for me, but for some reason the same people that say we have no culture are trying to, like, colonize Juneteenth and now make it like a African thing. Like, Juneteenth is a reference to a very specific day in black American history. It's not a black thing. It's just funny that, like, the same people that say we have no culture are now trying to, like, make Juneteenth for everybody.
Okay, I was talking to somebody and they said, why can't other cultures or nationalities use Juneteenth and celebrate it? And I'm going to show y'all how people are celebrating and it's not even, that ain't right. So just imagine if black Americans, right, we was like, hey, they have a holiday in China and we're going to celebrate the China holiday. Y'all come to our black organization, come to our black restaurant, man. We're going to celebrate, you know, a China holiday. It would seem weird. Why would a culture, you know, and I don't mean to say that why are they celebrating, but we see it's not being done with good intentions. Okay, and we know that's been the play running on black Americans for a long time. They don't do things in good intentions. They do it to take advantage. Okay, so I'm going to show y'all some examples of how they're doing that right now. But this holiday is for us, it's for our ancestors and the things that we've been through on this land. And we want to separate from people who have pride in their countries and what they've been through. And we want to show people the pride that we got.
Can anyone explain to me what the issue is with black Americans wanting to specify if black-owned businesses are black American owned, Caribbean owned, or African owned? I just think it's very telling to see how others in the diaspora are reacting to us simply wanting to specify what a black American business is. Like, I just don't get it. Forever, if you've ever met anybody from the Caribbean or anybody from a country in Africa, they have so much pride in where they come from, and they should. That being said, if you have ever witnessed how much pride they have in their homelands, you would also know that they get extremely offended when you suggest that they're black. So with that being said, y'all will not try to make black Americans feel bad for wanting to specify who's who. Because honestly, the way y'all are reacting in these comment sections, it's given that y'all kind of acting like the Asian community. Everybody wants to profit from us while still being hateful towards us. It's not gonna happen.
Okay, now we don't mind people, you know, saluting us, but when you're trying to throw events and parties at, you know, establishment that's not us and strictly us, you know, it looks like a scam. It looks like grifting to us. To me, personally, I ain't gonna say us, to me, I mean, and we ain't going for it. So make sure y'all subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, push me on the algorithm. I greatly appreciate that. I'm going to show y'all some clips of this that's going on and definitely how we can definitely start protecting our image, name, and likeness from these people. But we doing a good job on making sure that we are focusing on us, and that's just making people very, you know, very uncomfortable. So I'm going to give y'all some more commentary. I ain't gonna hold y'all. Check this out. Let's get it.
Juneteenth is coming up, but there's a big problem because most people think Juneteenth colors are red, black, and green. But that's not Juneteenth, that's Pan-African. And I know this might sound wild, but stay with me because by the end of this, you're going to look at Juneteenth completely different. Juneteenth is not an African holiday. It is an American holiday. It is the day that enslaved people in Galveston, Texas found out they were free right here on this soil in this country. And Juneteenth became an official United States federal holiday in June of 2021. So Juneteenth actually has its own flag, and most people have never seen it. It's red, white, and blue with a star in the center and a burst around it. The star has a dual meaning. One, it represents Texas, the Lone Star State, and it also represents the freedom of foundational Black Americans across all 50 states. And the burst around it represents a new beginning, the birth of a new day, and a fresh start for newly freed people. The same colors as the American flag, because the message is clear. Our freedom is American history, not borrowed from somewhere else. A foundational Black American who is a community organizer and activist named Ben Haith designed the flag in 1997 because he believed that Juneteenth deserved a symbol that told the truth about what the holiday actually is. This Juneteenth, don't let corporate America tell you how to represent our foundational Black American holiday. And let me know in the comments, did you know this already?
This week, not many hours from now, we're going to celebrate Juneteenth. We all know the story of Juneteenth, that there were slaves in Texas that had not gotten the word that they were free. A civil war that cost so much blood and treasure to this country. No other war has seen so many Americans dead. And yet, at the end of that war, many, many people had not heard the Emancipation Proclamation, did not know they were free. It wasn't until that fateful day on Juneteenth that slaves, now free people in Texas, heard about their freedom. There was jubilation, there was celebration, and the tradition of Juneteenth started. Now, I'm very familiar. It's hard for me to walk on this Senate floor, this sacred civic space. It's hard for me to walk here and not recognize the history. Right after Reconstruction, we saw the first Black person ever to walk on this floor. We saw a Black senator elected to this body, not popularly elected, but back then we put our legislators in the Senate by votes of state legislatures. We saw House members come from southern states as well, being elected in free, fair elections in that post-Reconstruction period. Because freedom in America is not just defined by not having chains. Freedom in America means being able to participate in this democracy. And in that brief period of the post-Reconstruction era, of the Reconstruction era, we saw free and open elections. African Americans rushed to the polls and voted at 70, 80%, and began to elect people in fair elections. We saw multicultural legislators. We saw blacks and whites and states sharing power. It was extraordinary, this brief window of time. But then the Reconstruction period ended, and a reign of terror fell throughout the South. We saw Black elected officials, Black judges, Black mayors being dragged out of their offices, beat, and some of them lynched. We saw laws being passed by state legislatures to bar Black people from voting, to put on poll taxes and other extraordinary hurdles to stop African American participation and African American voting. That very idea of being free was now undermined and undercut by a set of unfair laws. And what happened to blacks in the Senate? What happened to blacks in the House of Representatives? Well, they disappeared. I know the last speech, I've read it before, by George Henry White. The last black person in 1901 gave the final speech, and he predicted that one day African Americans would return to our federal legislature, would return to the House of Representatives, would return to the state. It's called the Phoenix speech because he predicted that one day blacks would return to these bodies. One day elections would be free. One day we would reclaim our democracy of one person and one vote. 1901, and he was from North Carolina, and it wouldn't be till the 1990s that another black person would come to be elected from North Carolina. From those days in the 1870s and 1880s when that reign of terror and the denial of vote, it wasn't until the 1960s that laws were secured, passed through the United States Senate and the United States House, that gave the right to vote a more fair and equal chance. It was called the Voting Rights Act of 1965, this extraordinary piece of legislation that secured the right to vote for African Americans. And finally, African Americans started returning to our legislature. We saw Edmund Brooke get elected to the United States Senate. We saw Carolyn Moseley Braun be elected to the United States Senate. The third person was Barack Obama, elected to the United States Senate, and I was the number 4. Fourth black person in history to be elected to this body after this history of horror and struggle and pain, after girls were killed in a bombing, the Edmund Pettus Bridge marchers beaten on Bloody Sunday, Goodman, Cheney, and Schwerner being killed in Mississippi. The stories of horror of those folks who tried to stand up for the right to vote, tried to fight to advance the cause of equal voting. Finally, in 1965, Voting Rights Act was passed. Equality at the polling place, justice returned, and this body and the chamber across the Capitol began to see, as was predicted by George Henry White, blacks come back to Congress. Justice, fairness, equality, secured by this chamber, secured by Congress, signed by a president. The Voting Rights Act from 1965 held strong and allowed that fairness to be seen and allowed voters to have a fair say. But here, as we get ready to celebrate Juneteenth and those ideals of freedom, I have to stand here on this Senate floor, recount this history, and say that we are at another crisis point in our democracy, because the Supreme Court now has gutted the Voting Rights Act, eviscerated Section 2. And what's happened as a result? Before the ink was dry, we saw southern states, those same states that a century before used the legislative power at the state level to eviscerate black voting fairness. They raced really quickly to draw congressional lines on their maps with the express purpose of diluting African American voting power. Literally eliminating districts where African Americans had fair representation in order to stop them from having a voice in Congress.
A community must have 3 things to have a community in it. You must have a wholly independent economic structure that can provide goods, service, products, and things for your own people, and jobs and tax bases for your own people. You should at least control 4 basic things. You should be trying to control water, food, medicine, and energy to be able to survive and compete.
Here we got Mr. Pollock. He had a cornfield. He took advantage of a free water test from us, and this is what we found in this water. We found sulfur, we found hardness, and we solved these problems with an easy fix of 2 tanks. So get your free water test today. Stay blessed. Click the link below.